The Proud Family Louder and Prouder finally wrapped up with its 10th episode today, and yeah, what a middle-of-the-road, mediocre experience this was. As is expected of reboots, the original was miles better and generally felt more sincere, in my opinion. But there are a couple of episodes I genuinely like, so I think the range of quality between 10 and 1 is still really big. One of the main things about this first season, oh and by the way, only 2 days ago season 2 got confirmed, is its complete lack of handling characters from one episode to the next. The unearned nature of most lessons characters learn, it's just, I don't really like the show ultimately. Now, I do like watching and discussing the show with you all, so for that sake, let's get into it. Hello, fellow Disney Plus watcher, it's nice to talk with you about Disney Plus today. If you love Disney and Disney Plus as much as I do and enjoy talking about it, why not click the subscribe button to stay up to date and give it a like so that more people can find this video. Thank you so much. Coming in at the bottom is episode 1, New Kids on the Block. Yeah, this show had growing pains. The first day of this show coming out wasn't a good one to me. A completely nonsensical opener where the creators of the show try their best to explain why Penny ages a little bit faster than her little brothers or parents. It's a cartoon, don't bring in random stardust to try and... You know what, I'll take a chill pill, I know it's a metaphor. The whole episode was about Penny becoming a woman, but then again, it was also mainly about random stuff, a singing panda as the guest star, random Gross Sisters rap songs, terrible humor. It only cared about the story in the final scene between Penny and her dad. If this episode was somewhere in the middle of the season, maybe I would have given it a little more slack, but as a first impression, it was kinda terrible. At number 9, we have episode 2, Bad Influencer. Yep, that premiere day wasn't a great one. Luckily, I found all of the other episodes in the season at least a little better. If this wouldn't have released along with episode 1, maybe it would have ranked a little higher because of perception, but not by much. This one is about this, influencer that really shouldn't be an influencer, but he is, unfortunately. At least by the end, he decides to use it for good. And this episode does contain a message that is perfectly fine. Don't let fame get to your head. But the plot of this episode just isn't good. Penny gets challenged by him to outdo him with his followers. A little bit of a commentary on cancel culture ensues. Some random stuff about chasing sugar mama's dentures stuffed in between, and it's just so bad. Cringy social media millennial stuff with a lot of randomness through it. Number 8, episode 5, Snackland. An episode with way too much on its plate. We get introduced to Snackland. Penny is preparing to perform with her friends as LPDZ, but her voice sounds like the raspy voice of Tone Loc, and there's a whole media controversy surrounding the park that gets undone pretty quickly. In the meantime, Lizzo tries to learn Penny a few things, and it's just too much. It's a shame that the Snackland project wasn't fleshed out more, because they seemed to want to build it up a bit, and Penny's raspy 80-year-old man voice made me nervously chuckle the first time I heard it because of the shock, but is such a ridiculous, unfunny thing in this episode. My number 7 pick is episode 8, Homeschool. What a nasty way of trying to sell the moral that you should help the homeless and pick those up who are in need. This show seems to be good with doublespeak, because the substitute teacher who is revealed to be homeless is actually a huge asshole, a narcissist, and actually at one point holds the Proud Family hostage and homeschools them against their will, and then trying to sell the message that Penny does the good thing by trying to make everything alright by giving her her own place, her own home. It's bizarre. Coming in at number 6 is episode 7, When You Wish Upon a Roker. Because I'm so brief on every episode, because yeah, you can check out my individual videos if you want to know more about them, but obviously within a ranking, I'm keeping things brief. It means that so far I've only said negative things about the show, which isn't totally fair, because I actually thought this one felt refreshing. To see familiar characters in a new setting and at a different age works well, but it also means something, as this is a be careful what you wish for story for Penny, and to see her crumble under the weight of her wish to be free without the pressure from parents at home, it actually comes with responsibility, and we get some sweet payoff between her and her dad. This episode could have ended up a little higher on the list if it wasn't for Penny's nemesis Roker and his minions and the ridiculous final basketball game. That just made the episode fall a little flat to me, but still, this is the first on the list that I would say, yeah, I enjoyed it somewhat. We're in the top 5, and number 5 is episode 4, Father Figures. Wait a minute, is Sunset home? Best line in the show. Really good stuff between Oscar and Felix in this episode. Oscar's prejudice about gay people was well handled. It didn't feel like a lecture. Penny's side of the story was not interesting at all, to the point where Penny herself gives a speech about literally nothing. But this episode just lets some characters really shine. Oscar in particular, Felix, the two fathers of Maya and KG also, and ultimately this episode was about how much you stand in your own way when you let nonsensical prejudice cloud your judgment. Oscar unwillingly risks his loan because of some opinion on what it is to be gay or something. And while I criticized the first two episodes for its confusing and dishonest way of dealing with the term wokeness and being a little bit weird about it, I didn't feel like this episode was woke at all. It worked for the characters. Number 4, episode 6, Get In. The tone of this episode felt right. Penny doing the impossible, starting a worldwide company, don't think about that for too long, with the support of her friends, but slowly everything falls apart and her friends leave the project because the ambitions are just too grand. It's about this very basic problem of dad forgetting his child at school and the kids taking charge. The vibe of this episode did it for me, I guess, and the humor was really good. The Oscar sugar mama dynamic was really on point and really funny in this one. Yeah, overall, quite a good one for the low standard of this show. Coming into the top 3, episode 9, Raging Bully. Finally, an episode that gives La Cienega some redemption, some real family problems, jealousy, ambition. I loved how the barbershop appeared to be of low-key importance, when at the end we literally see how the haircut is gonna save La Cienega's life. There were 2 scenes in this episode that actually paused and let a scene breathe, and that was extremely refreshing. Everything that the show suddenly does well is such a breath of air. Yeah, this episode wasn't perfect at all, but I liked it very much, especially thinking about the whole season and what moments and scenes leave the biggest impressions. My number 2 pick is episode 10, the season finale, Old Town Road Part 1. A bit sour to see the first time the show does a Part 1, it's the season finale, but hey, loved that we got new family secrets revealed that actually meant something for the characters. "Ah, I can't stand you," is a line we hear from young sugar mama to her father, and I loved how that mirrors what Penny and Oscar's relationship is and was always becoming. A new setting, fresh characters, nothing outstanding, but what this show really needed. If you want to hear more in-depth thoughts on it, I just did a review, so I don't feel like going over it all again. So last but not least, the best episode of the season, I think, is episode 3, It All Started with an Orange Basketball. How this episode dealt with the main conflict, which is Oscar pushing his daughter to success or pushing her away from her boyfriend, essentially how he's trying to make Penny into someone he wants to see, not who she is. How that passed on between Penny and Kareem, her boyfriend, how she tried to convince her boyfriend not to listen to her father, not to let him push him around, and later see the exact same thing happening between him and La Cienega. I just thought the story and the flashbacks of Penny and her father, fleshing out the father-daughter history and dynamic, it was just well written. It was good. It was the first unironically good episode of Louder and Prouder. Now it's up to you. What would be your ranking? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to compare. I really do. I like that stuff. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in my thoughts on individual episodes, you'll find it right here or in the description. Did you like this video? Then there's the simple way to show support. Thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow with the 4th episode of Moon Knight, and of course Sunday with the Your Thoughts video. Check the channel to know what that is. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.